You'll hate doing this one technique, but it truly sculpts Bodyweight Samurai. It's a technique that's been used since the warrior monks of Shaolin to power bats in the forest of Alaska. You might even scream, yell, even cry. It's so hard, but I guarantee that you'll build incredible strength doing it if you can withstand it, because it goes way beyond fitness. Because basic fitness is easy. I'll break it down in 30 seconds. Eat what grows, fresh, whole, and undefiled. Water, supplement for deficiencies if necessary. Losing weight, start with walks, flexibility and strength. Building muscle, 10 to 15 rep range, 3 to 5 sets, 3 days per week. Then going beyond fitness to strength, 1 to 5 rep range, 3 to 5 minute rest intervals. Flexibility, 10-minute splits. Skills, high volume until form breaks down. Rest every 4 weeks. Scale up every 8 to 16 weeks. That's how we literally go level by level through Powerbatics, transforming body and mind without boredom or injury, which is what happens for 99.99673% of people. Boredom, stuck, frustrated, and the injuries. Determined, focused power of mind and body should be the pursuit of everyone not yet 6 feet under. I don't care if you're 6 years old or 60 years old. Now this is called Powerbatics suspension training. So we have static training, like you've seen in our other videos, especially for horse stance, and you can do it for plank and other things. It's mental. It requires you to persist past the point of your body sending signals to stop. You train your brain to control your body. If you're already training, perfect. Keep going. The only caution I have, especially with what I'm going to show you, is doing it by yourself. In certain ways you'll be able to, but in others you'll definitely want objective eyes, so you don't fall into that 90+% failure rate category. You'll want to be on the right side of the bell curve, okay? Before I started implementing this, I couldn't get past a few basic things like push-ups, and advanced skills were really hard for me. But then they became easy, and it transfers over to all areas of life as you build your own athletosophy. But this is totally different. It's static insofar as you don't move, but it's totally different because gravity is pulling you down at one point of contact, maybe two. And here's the clincher, stretching you simultaneously like the rack. And I'm not kidding, people have cried. People start yelling and screaming and hollering. Sometimes they just can't take it and they have to quit. What it's doing is firing the entire muscle from origin to insertion all the way through the tendons, which is providing huge amounts of strength development that is not developed in mainstream methods and will not increase bulk. So people think you're skinny, but you have a secret weapon. From 2-arm hangs to 1-arm hangs to 1-arm meat hooks and 1-arm reverse flags. And for longer than you think, 10, 30, 60 seconds, even longer, up to 5 minutes. You can do this in all sorts of positions too, like the shapes we commonly reference in these videos, such as tuck, pike, straddle, and straight. But here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna give up, give in, and quit way before you really could. And guess what? This reduces strength gains significantly because you're not going anywhere near failure. This is where mindset comes into play, and especially having someone standing right there, either face to face or video screen, yelling at you to keep going because you're only at 50% max. And what's more, you can even set yourself up to where you can't get out, or it's very difficult to get out, which forces even longer holds than you mentally want. For example, you can tie in. Don't think this is some weird thing either. Athletes will tie in on a strap bar so they don't go flying off while learning giants. And if you don't think that hurts, you're sadly mistaken. But for Powerbatics suspension training, you can do it with static holds or with swings. The grip and tendon strength is beyond belief and applies directly to any form of martial arts, grappling, self-defense, picking up big items, moving furniture, or whatever. But what's even crazier is that you can apply these principles to stretching. Did you even know that stretching involves strength? There's 3 basic types of stretching: static passive like splits, static active like a bridge, and dynamic like swinging your arm or leg or swinging from your arm. There's others too, but take a leg iron cross as an example. You're actively resisting gravity while you train these. This involves muscle flexion, and every time you get that cringe moment in a stretch where you want to quit, your muscles flex to resist. So when you stretch, you're continuously activating strength training in huge ranges of motion, which is enormously beneficial. So then the mindset comes into play here as well. But you can also create a hang situation as well for the legs, which is going to create phenomenal strength in your legs. That's again invisible to the untrained eye, a secret weapon. For example, splits can be done on a raised surface, and if you add a slider, you are simulating the same thing as a hang from one arm, but on all the muscles and connective tissue of your inner legs all the way up to your pelvis, which I can almost guarantee is underdeveloped in most people, including professional athletes. But when you do take the time to build all of that, no wonder these lanky MMA fighters tear through boxers and grapplers with kicks and unpredictability. The strength is simply there in all ranges, lending to versatility and full body power. And here's the key without the risk of injury. It's the same reason why a wrestler can get dropped on their neck and be okay. They've built strength through much bigger ranges of motion with neck bridging. Shaolin monks take it to a whole nother level by literally hanging from their neck. Some bar athletes will do neck hangs as well, but most people don't want to be an indestructible force of nature while hanging from their neck. They want to go to work in the gym without issue. That's perfectly fine. I'd say slider middle splits and overstretching help me greatly, and the one arm hangs for minutes at a time even help me get the one arm pull up. But again, there's a mindset issue that people overlook. Let's say you're doing a one arm or a two arm hang. I can remember chalking up for hangs and doing this 5 round by 1 minute per arm training. My hand felt like it was gonna explode. Like my palm was literally just gonna stay on the knurling and the rest of me was gonna fall out like a glove. But you keep hanging through that. That mentality is where the true transformation occurs. And I've heard from people that it makes their hand too rough and things like that. Well, 2 things. First, that is part of human adaptation and it's a good thing. But second, if you want nice soft hands like Major Key Life, then wear gloves and use lotion. But I personally like when my hands are calloused like a gorilla. And I know that people will go try this. I can guarantee that you're letting go too soon. It's the same for me. I've done stretching, for example, and get up at the end of the round. And then with a partner, I've really done stretching because they won't let me out. It's a totally different ball game when you have someone telling your ego, nope, it ain't good enough. Keep going. You're not quitting yet. That's where the progress is. And that goes back to how humans are designed in community and who your 5 closest friends are and all that. But try this experiment to get the feel for what I'm talking about. 2 hand hangs, set the clock for 2 minutes, and then write a prediction of how far you'll make it. Maybe 45 seconds you write down. Do it by yourself. Look at the timer the whole time and record how long you make it. Then next week, do it with somebody that will not show you the time and that will yell at you and even lie to you about how many seconds it's been, saying it's shorter than it really is. It works all the time with my students. Lies. Lies for progress. Lie to yourself. What I mean is trick yourself into working harder than you thought possible. Now, I'd be remiss to say training like this is safe. It can be dangerous, just like driving a car or playing a sport, but it's safe when done in the correct context under the qualified objective eyes. But if you start doing this every day saying, yeah, I got the hack now, you're gonna inadvertently be overtrained in less than a week with an injury. And we've seen that all the time too. What you want are the good tears. I mentioned that students will cry when training like this. It's not because of pain, especially for adults. It's because they actually went to a place they never thought that they could go, and they came out the other side with tears of joy. Totally different mindset. And I told you I'd tell you what nobody else will on this channel. Now, people will ask how to get started. First thing, subscribe, yeah, but also opting in so if Google is ever trust busted, you can still stay connected with us. Second is self-study, which has its value, but also takes about 4 to 10 times as long, simply because we all cheat, create bad habits, and cause self-injuries. Third is messaging my team and getting started in the next day or 2. And if you implement the coaching and not go off track, you'll do it without injury and at a sustainable growth rate. See you in the next video.